Hi everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name is Krug, and I'm explaining that to you because I'm sitting next to someone who is kind of a juggernaut in the tabletop space. You almost certainly know him if you know.
I don't know that I'm a juggernaut. I'm probably the opposite of a juggernaut because I make very small games.
He's the creator of Postcard Games.
I'm Joseph Limbaugh. I am the founder of Postcard Games, and I design games on postcards. I've been doing that for almost a decade now.
Wow.
Oh gosh, almost a decade now.
That's a long time. Let's talk about the postcard thing, because that's a kind of interesting concept.
Yeah.
You design games specifically so that they fit on a single postcard and require a minimal amount of external pieces.
Exactly. The idea is, and I'll just hold this up so you can see it. This is my first game I designed, Postcard Empire. And it's like a whole, it's like a whole board game on a postcard. To play it, you would just need to supply coins. For the first two games I made, you just had to have some coins. But the idea is that you could take it anywhere and then you would, just grab the components elsewhere. Designing for that form factor is very challenging. It's a really interesting design challenge.
Yeah.
To try to get an interesting game in
Keeping
that space.
Something portable and thin and kind of minimal almost. It's designed still, obviously, there's artwork involved, but as far as the form factor is concerned, while still having good enough explanation of the rules so that people can jump into it if they haven't played it before. I think that's a super interesting challenge, and I think it's one that you've pulled off really well with your first couple games. The reason that you're here today is because you're releasing another game in the series.
Yes, I just launched a Kickstarter for Postcard Galactic, and I've been working on it for a long time. I'm really excited about it. It's got a bit more depth than my other games. Instead of everybody playing on one postcard, every player has their own postcard, which represents a faction of the Galactic Empire, which currently is experiencing a power vacuum because there's no one, on the Imperial throne.
Game of Thrones.
This is a printed play version, so it's because I just kickstarted it. There is a color version on the site, but this is
not what you get.
It's not.
This is this is an iteration of something. And there's also preliminary rules up on the Kickstarter as well.
There are. Those are going to be updated as we go. The work, it's still in progress, obviously. It's mostly done. We're still tweaking stuff here and there, and we're still, writing and rewriting the rules. So that will be updated as we go forward. Obviously, it's really important when you do a Kickstarter to kind of let people know what the product is.
That's something I wanted to talk about, because whenever we have Kickstarters on here, we do one of two things. Oh, we don't know these people. This is just an interesting product. This is a Kickstarter, and then we don't really go into much else outside of that. And then we have people like you, where we know you, and we want to say, we can endorse this. We know this isn't a scammy Kickstarter. We know this isn't a money grabby Kickstarter. This is a person who genuinely loves to develop games and wants to deliver a good product. And you've actually done Kickstarters in the past, like you said.
My first two postcard games that I developed were Postcard Empire and Postcard Cthulhu. So I did that before I ever did anything on Kickstarter. Postcard Dungeons, if you want to grab that one, that was my first Kickstarter, and it was really well. It went really well. I'm most proud of that game. I think it's a really awesome game, and I hopefully will be more proud of Postcard Galactic. I was inspired by Steve Jackson games back in the day, like Ogre, and he just made a bunch of those little micro games. And also, this is an obscure reference, but if anyone knows Tom Wham from Dragon Magazine, he did Snit's Revenge and King of the Tabletop, File 13, a bunch of games that would just in the original Dragon magazines would be stuck in there, and you could pull them out and cut out all the pieces and play them. And as a kid, I loved those games.
I think you're dating yourself a little bit.
I totally am. Yeah, I'm a vampire.
So if people want, they can go and check out those previous games.
You can actually buy them at postcardgames.com. They're all for sale. I will ship them to you. I personally will stick them into the envelope, put the stamp on, and send them to wherever you live.
And all those links are going to be in the description if you want to go check them out. We can figure out how all those games are played because they're out in the wild already. Can you tell us a little bit about the rules for Postcard Galactic?
Yes. Each player will have one of these faction cards. You need to supply 6 dice for each player, just regular 6-sided dice. So you roll your dice, and you put them on these kind of basic assets up here to start. These assets have resources which you can spend. It's these little icons here represent the resources to buy more advanced assets down here. And these are kind of your main, more powerful assets that have special abilities where you can use them to, raid the other players or to manipulate the rules of the game a bit. But your ultimate goal is to kind of get dice over here on these victory assets because those are worth the most victory points. So the idea is it's kind of an asymmetrical game. Each faction has a different, victory conditions. Each faction has different abilities. Kind of my cool mechanic for this game. You can buy an asset on another player's faction. So, if I'm the Tesseract engineers, I can, see, I want to have a little bit of military power, so I'm going to buy an asset from the Prime Legion. I'm going to put one of my dice on their board, and now we are allied, me and the Prime Legion, and we cannot raid each other, although there's ways to get around that.
Do you know at this point how many factions are going to be in the final release, or is that something that you're still working on?
We're still working. It depends, because it depends on how far the, how many stretch goals we hit. Every stretch goal is another faction. If all of the factions in the first tier get opened, there will be a total of 7 factions. I might release some of the factions as print and play later, even if they don't get released. I will probably 90% the release co-op rules on print and play, even if we don't get as far as which is like kind of one of the stretch goals that's way down the line. We'll see if we get there.
We were talking before, and you said that's something that the community that's already been supporting this game is like really excited for.
Yeah, a lot of people mention that. Oh, I really want co-op rules, because people love to have these little games and bring them, with them and just play them during their lunch break or something.
Can you play 7 players simultaneously? Have you tested like scaling this out?
You can. It does make the game take a little bit longer. I think you can play with 2 people as well, but I think somewhere between 3 to 6 is like the ideal amount of players.
Spot.
Yeah, but theoretically you could have any number of players.
And you just hand everybody random faction cards, have duplicates all over the place, and
2 people could play one faction. Yeah, you have duplicates, and so you could play with like 20 people theoretically. Yeah. I don't know how that would work. We have not play tested it. But who knows? If you really like the game, it is a short game too.
Sure.
About an hour. It's about an hour, maybe. It depends, like somewhere depending on how many people are playing. But about an hour.
And again, that's the compelling part about this. This is not a giant box. This is a postcard, and you get an hour's worth of gameplay out of a session. And then it's like asymmetrical, like every gameplay experience has the potential to be different based on who is playing which faction. Having that much replayability and that much gameplay time in something this easy to just, like you said, just bring to work, and play during lunch.
I do like the idea that depending on which factions are playing, the game is different every time.
Indigo wrote this question: how much is the faction arc based off people? Is that a thing?
Yeah, and for Postcard.
So they're all based off of me, right? This is me, and this is Sam, definitely.
That's Sam, yeah. That's Hector, Hector Navarro, and that's Eric Ishii.
Is this somebody's vehicle?
It's just a ship, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, B-Dave is going to be in here, and
of course. That's going to be really OP, though.
Probably.
So you mentioned that this is your second Kickstarter, but you had also made games previously without Kickstarter. Can you talk maybe a little bit about why you made the transition to crowdfunding in general?
I kind of just wanted to see how it would go. Honestly, I was overwhelmed by the support that I got for Postcard Dungeons.
Yeah.
It did really well. There were 3,800 backers. It made like $30,000 on Kickstarter, which blew my mind. I was not expecting that to happen. Pretty new to Kickstarter. I'm by no means an expert. The main thing, and one of the reasons why I wanted to put the Postcard games on Kickstarter, is what I do know is a lot of people on Kickstarter, they mess up with the fulfillment. And that is why I only make games on postcards.
Right.
I don't want to ship anything other than postcards.
Because that adds places where it could fumble.
Exactly.
And you don't want to do that.
I want to do as much as I possible to make sure that you will get a product at the end of this that looks good, and you will, a physical product that you will hold in your hands. Anything that got in the way of that, I would try to eliminate. And I'm looking forward to shipping out, a game again. I have some more stuff coming down the pipeline. This won't be my last Postcard game.
We'll have to have you back on when you're getting ready to announce those things too. Unless you want to just announce them now.
I will. My next game is going to be, from the get-go, a co-op game, because it's been a while since I've done one of those, and it will be Cthulhu Mythos themed. I already know what the name of it is, but I'm not going to release that yet. But that will be the game after Postcard Galactic.
If you're still looking for a name, I'd like to throw out a suggestion. Indigo bought this immediately. I think that would be a good one.
I'll consider it.
It's honest,
When will we be seeing the game? I've given myself some more time with this one, because with Postcard Dungeons, we really killed ourselves. There was a short window of time, and we shipped a month late, but I would prefer to ship early if at all possible. So the deadline for shipping for Postcard Galactic is March 2020. But if I'm able to get everything ready before then, I will ship it early.
Effectively, what you've done is you've done one Kickstarter, learned something from it, and adjusted everyone's expectations based on that, which who could ask for anything more than exactly what you just did.
Although I'm not an expert, I'm at least more experienced than I was before.
Absolutely.
Only a juggernaut.
If you want to get your hands on Postcard Galactic, you can head down to the description. We have links to the Kickstarter. We have links to Postcard Games where you can look at the catalog of Postcard games that you've developed. And since you've been so kind as to offer our viewers a chance at a free copy of Postcard Dungeon, head down to the comments and tell us your funniest dungeon story. It could be from a video game, from an RPG, from anything. We'll be giving away 5 copies, just randomly drawn from the comments. When the Postcard Galactic Kickstarter ends, we'll be doing the raffle, and we will let the winners know via YouTube, so just keep your DMs open. That was creepy.
Look, you stopped doing the creepy crew kiss, so I'm okay with it.
I used to sign off every video with a kiss.